and you authored My Classic Closet. My book actually came out before even the Black Lives Matter.
Yeah.
I'm somebody who's very, very rooted on equality and social justice. I'm very liberal at heart. How did you start? What was the gap that you saw in the market? It's always about pivoting, finding solutions to the problem. How does Saachi unwind? Well, Saachi unwinds only on the telescope. What were some of the challenges you faced along? If you're an entrepreneur, you have to love the challenges. A lot of young listeners, and they probably want to start a business. What would your advice be to them? Commitment and consistency. Thank you so much for joining us today, Saachi. Thank you, Stuti, for inviting me. Saachi, I'm going to start with your educational background. You went to School of Oriental and African Studies in London for your undergrad. What did you study there, and how did that shape you subsequently? So I went to SOAS London and I studied history there, which a lot of people raise their eyebrows. I'm like, we studied history and did absolutely nothing with it. But yeah, I went at the age of 18. I did my undergrad there. I think it was perhaps one of the best experiences of my life. I mean, today, even if I can think back and, I never want to ever live in the past. But if I ever have to rewind the clock and say that this is one period that I want to at least go back and see and experience, it would perhaps be my years at the West, and predominantly because of how impressionable I was at that age, and in what incredible ways that experience of living abroad, living alone, shaped me as a person. And that the biggest takeaway in learning for me at university was probably to unlearn and me to it opened up my mind. When you say unlearn, what do you mean? What I mean is, when you are in an environment with people from so many diverse cultures, so many different languages, such different backgrounds, there is so much to learn and unlearn in your own mind.
Yeah.
That I think it was truly one of those experiences that even I'm already a liberal. I'm very liberal at heart. That just opened up and broadened my horizon in so many different ways. That it was perhaps one of the most beautiful experiences of my life, and it's played a huge role in making me who I am, the way I think, and even much of the work that I have done from the time that I have graduated has really been influenced by the people, the cultures, the experiences that I had at university. And that's I can only sum it up as one of the most beautiful phases of my life. So then you moved back to India and you authored My Classic Closet, which is a study on stereotype and identity. So at such a young age, what was going on that at that point in time made you explore this theme? My book actually came out before even the Black Lives Matter movement. That's what happened. And it was just my quest to question everything around me. And I remember this was around the period when France had banned the hijab. There was a lot of conversation on, identity and how identities are constructed and deconstructed. And where does that lead to? Is this that stereotype? Are there crimes that are led because of stereotype? I'm somebody who's very, very rooted on equality and social justice. It's something that I'm passionate about. I speak very vocally about. And I think there was so much happening around in my own, environment of where we lived in India, or such a multicultural society. I thought it was very relevant to talk about it at that time. And I said, how do we make this easily understandable for people to understand and to learn more from and to question the same thing? Something as simple as, why does somebody need to be robed in saffron to be a godman? Is he more godly than you and I put together? So these were questions that I really grappled with at that age. And I was young, right? And almost 10 years younger, right?
You were already questioning the we versus them narrative.
Absolutely. And, how are people, why is there racial profiling? How are people profiled? Is there a certain sense of, discrimination that is involved when you're stereotyping people like that? So those were questions. When I grappled with them, I said, they deserve to have a book on. And luck had it in my favor. I reached out to about 12 or 15 people from different walks of life, very famous people from different walks of life. And I interviewed them and I compiled that into a book. And they were all exclusive interviews with them, ranging from Sri Ravi Shankar to Anita Dongre to Shashank Khaitan, the film director. We had an amazing lineup of people, and then I sold that to Juggernaut.
Okay. Yeah. So where can we get it now? You want to read it?
On Juggernaut, you can visit Juggernaut's website and order a copy for yourself.
I am going to do that. And you said you met a lot of famous people while writing this book. Can you tell us a few of the stories that really impacted you?
The one that I have spoken a lot about is actually Anita Dongre, where I got, one of my first inspirations to start my business. I mean, all of them were deeply, deeply inspirational. And, when you meet different people, what that book, the journey of writing that book gave me was insight into what makes people successful. How are people motivated? What's passion? How they stay motivated in their journey? What drives people? But coming to one of the first ones that I want to talk about is actually Anita Dongre's journey. She had invited me to Rabale, her headquarters in Rabale in Mumbai, Navi Mumbai. And it was this beautiful, and it is this beautiful factory space, office working space, right in the heart of nature. And, she truly walks the talk. Natural sunlight, absolutely beautiful. And I was interviewing her, must have been 2015, 2016. And she spoke a lot about sustainability, and she's one of the first designers from India who, has been very vocal about it and has integrated it into her business model.
Yeah.
So that was a very, very inspirational meeting with her, and I've got opportunity to meet her many times after and have her at Conscious Effort as well, which is a platform that I host. Apart from that, even I would say Shashank Khaitan.
Okay.
He was the director of very famous Bollywood movies. Yeah. And that was also a very inspirational journey of what he was able to, overcome and reach where he has today, which is a dream to achieve. So it was a good journey.
So you met Anita Dongre, and her efforts inspired you to work in sustainability.
Yes.
And particularly sustainable fashion. And keeping in mind that we're talking about 2015, 2016, where sustainable fashion wasn't mainstream.
Yeah.
Probably people in India hadn't even heard of the word.
Yeah.
Now, especially post-COVID, people have become very aware. That makes you start Conscious Effort. When you're starting in essentially something that people don't even understand what you're trying, what your aim is, or why you're doing it. What were some of the roadblocks you faced back then?
Roadblock, my God. I think when you run a business every day, there's a new roadblock or a challenge to overcome, and I thrive in that environment. So coming back to the first part of your question, I could see a movement globally around sustainability. So yes, of course, visiting Anita's headquarters and understanding her story was very inspirational. But in general, overall, I could see the world moving towards, better trade practices, towards look at the air that we breathe. Like, why are we not even questioning anything else? It's inevitable that if we don't stop, it is only us who can make this change to stop what's happening currently, whether it's the environment, whether it's social impact, the way people are living, breathing, eating. It is us who need to make a difference. So very early on, I knew impact is something that has to be deeply central to any of my initiatives, whether I worked in fashion or pharmaceuticals. For me, impact is very central to who I am and how I operate in my daily life and all the choices that I make. So coming back to that part of your question, I could see the world in general moving towards sustainability. I saw an opportunity and a market gap there. We realized that I realized India is such a large market. We are predominantly creating for the West. Most of your top fashion brands, I don't know if you're aware, are manufactured in the East, in India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, China. Vietnam as well. So, I understood very early on that there will be brands, and this is something that we have to inherently move towards. And researched a lot. We did find a lot of brands who were anyway working with boutique stores abroad, were compliant and working with boutique stores abroad. So retail is where we started bringing certified conscious brands under one platform and building a marketplace model around it. Roadblocks, one of the biggest roadblocks for me was education. And that's where conscious effort was actually born. For me, obstacle doesn't mean something we're afraid of. It means that's something that we need to overcome. Conscious effort was born, and the mission was to educate, engage, and empower people about sustainability in the fashion and lifestyle industry. That's the advocacy portal. We decided that we're going to bring the people who are making a difference and people who want to make a difference under one roof, to have a target audience, to have education, to learn more about the subject, and to matchmake with the right people who are interested in their product. So that's where conscious effort was actually born, and it's been 6 years this year that we've completed. Before I do a deep dive into more of your 3 distinct verticals, I have an observation. I want to say it out loud, that I feel you're truly a thought leader who's been ahead of the curve. You're questioning the we versus them narrative way before 2018. And also, you were questioning sustainability, and you were advocating that way before it became mainstream. So that's an observation I had, and I wanted to share it with you and everybody tuning in.
Very kind of you.
No, I truly mean it, and it's the truth. So talking about Saahra, the first vertical you have is the retail vertical, which is, again, India's first multi-designer boutique, which only has ethical brands. How did you start, and what was the gap that you saw in the market? I think my 3 verticals have been an answer to problem solving and the obstacles, like you mentioned in the previous question, perpetually. It's always about pivoting and finding solutions to the problem. I feel like sustainability as a subject, sustainability as a cause, driving impact is something that is my commitment. Everything else is about reaching and fulfilling that commitment on a day-to-day basis. So my first vertical is a marketplace retail, which is where I started from, bringing together brands that are certified sustainable brands across fashion and lifestyle. We went online. We're a complete marketplace now. When we started, I realized very early on that advocacy, like I said, was a very big market gap. Again, the brands were there, but they were, they were priced at a premium because they're sustainable products. Yeah, they're obviously the cost of production is slightly higher. And, when you put the sustainability tag, and when we were putting in literally in 2017, 2018, there was a lot of curiosity around the subject, and people said, oh, why is it so expensive? Or what is it made of? And how can it be made of a vegan leather, which is plastic free? Or, what type of what is organic textile? So, we realized the market gap again over there, what the marketplace in itself to work was more education.
Yeah.
And that's where conscious effort as a second vertical,
which is your second vertical,
which is my second vertical, which came in. That is a platform, we do an annual event, the Conclave, a design show, and a clean tech challenge. That did significantly very, very well for us in fulfilling our mission to educate, engage, and empower people about sustainability and, fashion in the fashion and lifestyle industry. Because we ran the Clean Tech Challenge, and the Clean Tech Challenge
what was that?
The Clean Tech Challenge is a part of Conscious Effort, where we felicitate innovators who have patented solutions for climate action.
Okay.
Yeah, lovely. And that's when a lot of companies and corporates started coming to us and saying, hey, we would like to know how we can, integrate these solutions within our product or within our company, and can you help us decarbonize? Can you help us reach our climate goals? That's how my third vertical, which is consultancy, was born.
Yeah,
we're fully operational across all three verticals.
So retail, advocacy, and consult.
Yes.
When you say consulting brands, what does that actually cover in terms of your scope of work as a consultant?
Every brand and every product is different. Every company is at a different scale with what they want to achieve with sustainability. What's your solution for sustainable will be different for somebody else. If you're somewhere where you're close to an area where cotton is easily accessible to you, very simple example that I'm giving you, it might be a better solution for you. But for somebody else who has recycled nylon more easily accessible near them, and they don't need to bring it from bring cotton from, across the world, that's a more sustainable solution for them. So in very simple words, we consult on products, on innovations, on matchmaking, on setting the targets and meeting the targets when it comes to your product or your company.
I want to talk to you about a specific project that you've recently completed, which was with Mahindra and Mahindra. Tell us about that.
It was an incredible project. I mean, it was my first time working with an automotive company, and we're very incredibly proud to be working with having the opportunity to work with an Indian OEM, that too. And they're perhaps one of the first Indian OEMs that was, working to look for better climate positive solutions for materials and for their vehicle interiors. So we consulted them on material solutions for vehicle interiors.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. You started your business at a very young age.
Yeah.
So again, I'm asking you to reflect back a little bit. What were some of the challenges you faced along? Probably then when you were starting young, and then now that you look back, the challenges you're facing now.
I think challenges are there every day, and if you're an entrepreneur, you have to love the challenges. I thrive in an environment of problem solving, in, you working against the tide and rising above your problems. That's the only way you will survive and thrive. But early on, I think because I was very young, I don't have too many challenges per se that I really struggle with. But I think I was very, very young, and credibility is something that was very difficult to portray. When you're young, you're 22, 23, you are starting a business and you're saying, hey, I want to build a sustainability platform, when most people around you don't even know what sustainability means. Was something that sounded absurd to many people.
They were not taking you seriously.
They were not taking you seriously, and rightfully so. I don't question them. Or I understand where that comes from, because I was just fresh out of college, this young, fully energetic, passionate person saying, I want to do this and I will do this. And I had the conviction and the commitment to do it. So my first obstacle was really credibility. I think other than that, I don't think I would say I'm very blessed. I've not faced too many hurdles. And even if I have, I think I've just taken them in my stride.
So now, today, the scale you are at, running this full-fledged business with 3 verticals, what do you feel are the challenges you're facing today?
I think it'll definitely be funding, but that's something that I think across the board, a lot of founders, especially young founders who start something very young and, get into it. Funding is a general industry issue. And a lot of people tell me that, it could be because you're a single female founder.
Oh,
but I don't.
You get that a lot? Do you?
I don't get that a lot, but I think in the ecosystem, I've realized that when you're 2 or more, it's more of a shared responsibility with another person, and that reduces your risk. It reduces the risk for an investor because there's as much as one person can really do. The general consensus, whether I agree with it or not, is a separate subject.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think today that probably be one of my only areas that we truly struggle with in explaining people that it is okay to be one founder. You don't. I learned something new in the startup ecosystem, which actually I must tell you. I was recommended once to get another founder on board, and I first thought, did I hear that right? I asked the person again. I said, what do you mean by another founder? Because there's technically, if you go to the English dictionary, there's only one founder. You can get a CEO, you can get a CEO, you can get an investor, you can get a partner. But there is only one founder, So it's so deeply ingrained in the system a little bit that I feel like that's a struggle that I speak to other entrepreneurs, especially like female-founded businesses.
Okay.
And I see that being a general consensus that that's the struggle for most people.
A lot of young listeners have tuned in and listening to your inspiring journey. And they probably want to start a business in a field that may not necessarily be mainstream as we speak. What would your advice be to them?
Commitment and consistency. I think when you are committed to your goal, it does not mean that you need to be rigid in the way you are going to reach your goal. I think commitment with flexibility is what's going to take you there. Flexibility in pivoting in a way that will still take you to the same end result, but you need to be open. You need to listen to your failures, to your challenges with a very open mind and with the idea to learn and overcome. I think that's the only advice if I had to even give to my younger self would be this, and this is something that I perpetually and consistently live by, that, commitment and consistency is the only thing that you have in your own hands. To just show up every single day, with laser sharp focus that this is what I'm committed to. These are the variables that I have in my hand. This is what I can work with. I work with that with honesty, with perseverance, with honesty, authentically, and keep moving forward, and you will reach your goal. And the goalpost keeps changing, by the way, okay? So you will never feel as successful, Sometimes the goalpost is for me to just start a business. It's to, raise a certain amount of revenue. You cross that revenue.
Because you always want to grow. If you're an ambitious person and you're a passionate person, you always want to grow.
Absolutely. So it's also important to enjoy the journey along the way. Yeah. While you're building, it's important to continue enjoying that journey and staying. The one thing that's kept me through everything, we've had all sorts of problems. Yeah. With the pandemic, being in a retail business or, running events. Every day is like so many different things that come up. But the only thing that I think can keep a person going is their passion for what they do.
Yeah.
And that's something that, you just hold on to.
And also, I feel don't forget to celebrate the victories.
For sure.
At each goalpost.
For sure. Absolutely.
Like be your own cheer.
Yeah, absolutely. So well put.
Yeah. Saachi, people, I feel genuinely want to live a more sustainable life, but it's also probably very overwhelming. And of course, let's be realistic, we cannot be 100% sustainable. What would you tell people? Like, what are the little things that you do or somebody can incorporate in their daily lives to make a difference?
I always put it in one line: do the best you can, and when you know better, do better. I don't think, as you rightly pointed out, nobody can be 100% sustainable, carbon neutral, live a life without making any kind of environmental impact. But we can make better choices today.
Yeah.
And better choices are only about how committed you are to it. And you do it for yourself. You know, a lot of people ask me, why would somebody want to do it for the environment? What benefit do they get out of it?
Yeah.
And let me remind you, the benefit is directly proportional to your health and to your well-being. And
Absolutely.
to how your children are going to grow up in this world. You are not doing this only for the environment or for any kind of social justice and impact. I think if you start with even the most selfish reason to do it for yourself and your loved ones, that's a good enough place to begin with. And, you know, there are no extravagant things that you need to go and do. Consume less, consume better. Question yourself when you're consuming something and ask yourself, do you really need it? You know, there's just simple things that you can do on a day-to-day basis. Turning up a light, using a water bottle instead of a plastic bottle. I mean, that adds up, you know, it compounds. And once it compounds, it starts with a very small conscious effort, but it becomes a very large conscious effort.
Imagine if everybody is doing one thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Just that one thing that you become committed
magnified.
to.
Yeah. Saachi, I know you're a very busy lady. You wear so many hats all at once.
Yeah.
So how does Saachi unwind?
Well, Saachi unwinds only on the tennis court. If you don't find me at work, you find me on a tennis court.
Yeah.
And that's my passion, my first love.
Yeah.
You don't know I wanted to be a tennis player when I was young, but I was nowhere good. Neither am I good right now. I was nowhere close to it, but I was always very, very passionate about tennis. It's a sport I love.
Yeah.
And I continue to play it, and I hope I can continue to play recreational sport for a long, long, long time ahead.
Yeah, like I can vouch for that because about an hour ago offline, you told me that even yesterday at 2 p.m. at 40 degrees Celsius, you were on the court.
That's endurance training. I call it's good for my business. I know how to stay uncomfortable for a longer period of time.
I love that. Enough shop talks. We want to know Saachi a bit better.
Sure.
And because we live in the world of Instagram, the next segment is called Roast the Post.
Okay.
So the first photo I have for you,
Oh God,
is this.
Oh my God, this is one of my closest friends, Sagrika Jain.
Okay.
I travel a lot with. She's actually been a really close friend since college. That was her birthday in Goa this year.
Okay, lovely. Okay. The second one, I just had to ask you. This is amazing. What was going on in your head?
Oh my God,
when you were interviewing Diya.
Diya's amazing. She's incredible. I shot this in the pandemic, actually. We did this series on plastic pollution in the pandemic because, suddenly the ban on plastics had changed and, there was a lot of disposability and, there was a lot of plastic pollution because of that. So we did a digital series and Diya was one of our guests.
Nice.
And what was going on in my mind? Nothing. It was a very hardcore plastic conversation. But it was a wonderful one and you can still check it out on our website.
I'm going to. And this is you.
All right. This is from ConsciousEffort this year
with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 men. And you're moderating the panel.
That is very normal for me. And most of the time, I am amongst men in my men twice my age in a workspace.
I love it.
So I don't even look at it from that prism or perspective any longer. So nothing was going on in my mind. I was being the person that I am, doing my job like I do every day, regardless of whether they are men or how old they are.
Amazing. I love that. And the last one has to be from last Sunday.
Oh my God, yes. My passion. Sundays are for tennis. Sunday afternoon, you'll only see me playing tennis, whether come rain, sunshine, heat, or hail, anything, you will always find me on the tennis court. So, okay. That's from last Sunday. Tennis.
Love it. Saachi, we also have Diya in the studio. She has a fun segment planned for you. So we present to you rapid fire with the
looking forward.
Okay, so it's this or that.
Okay.
Recycle, upcycle.
Recycle.
Fast fashion, slow fashion.
Slow fashion.
So vintage fashion or classic fashion?
Classic fashion.
What do you think about vintage?
I love vintage. I do have a few vintage pieces. But classic fashion, because it will also last to the next few generations too. And, you can also wear it every time without feeling, because, vintage usually has some value to it. And you don't end up wearing it as often. But classic, you can keep repeating and, keep wearing it and enjoying it on a day-to-day basis. And I'm a day-to-day kind of dresser. Easy person like that. Yeah, easy to dress person. Yeah.
Now, the heat.
Yeah.
Your idea of summer holiday. The beach or the hill?
The beach. Any day. Bikini at the beach. Yeah.
Like beach bums in the house.
Yeah.
So, one person inspires.
Amal Clooney. Yes. I really admire and appreciate the work she does for social justice on a global scale. And I have been very, very inspired by how articulate and what tough cases she has, taken on governments. And, really, she's truly somebody who has done remarkable work and has a voice of her own. So I'm really inspired by Amal Clooney and Justice Ruth Bader, RBG. I can never have enough of, reading about her, watching her documentaries. Somebody also very, very inspirational for how rooted she is in equality and social justice.
As I said, we do that.
Yeah.
It's going to be because
absolutely.
Right. So what you think of when you hear because she can, or what does that stand?
Because she can, to me, stood for, just literally an antithesis to what we hear around the world all the time. It's always a female entrepreneur, the woman, doing this or doing that. And I'm like, you don't need to put a female tag to this. I'm an entrepreneur and that's it. And I can because I can. And I like the fact that there is a she to it. And it's not provocative. It's just very normal that she is who she is and she can. That it starts and ends there. That's a full stop because she can.
Thank you, Diya.
So
that's because she can. You have me and real much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for this conversation.
Thank you so much.